Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who's tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say, make sure you're following me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. And don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter. All of that is going to be linked in the description. Happy Labor Day, guys. It's officially the first week of September by the time this episode is up. And that means that, I post on Thursdays. So that means that Labor Day Monday had already passed. So if you celebrate, happy late Labor Day. I hope you enjoyed your weekend, your holiday weekend, your day off from work. I hope that the weather is nice where you're at and you were able to go to the beach or do a barbecue or hang out at a park or just overall spend time with family and friends. As you could probably tell by today's title, we are going to be talking about the dating world for tall women. And I don't really talk too much about this topic on this podcast. I don't really try to bring it up that much. I don't know. I just feel like, number one, I don't really want to. I don't have too much experience in the dating world. So it's not really like a topic that I can really talk about because, yes, there are like little instances or experiences like here and there, but I'm not someone who avidly like goes out and meets new people. That sounds really bad. But I'm just not someone who, like, the most social interaction that I've had like in my first 20 something years of life is really just going to school. Outside of that, I'm like doing extracurriculars and working and stuff. So being put in certain situations that other tall women tend to talk about, like I've never been there like that. So I just don't have too many experience. That's what I should say. I don't really have too many experiences to share in that realm, just a few here and there. But then also, on the other hand, it's like I find it a little bit annoying to talk about. I don't know, because it could be a touchy topic, not just for tall women, but also other people who may or may not be interested in tall women. And then when I talk about it, there comes the messages and the comments that are very shallow messages, very shallow comments. Can we all just get along here? However, here we are talking about this topic right now, and it all started with a comment that I got under one of my podcast episodes. I'm not going to say a word for word, I'm just going to summarize it, and to be honest, I don't remember the context of the video, so I don't really know why they commented that, but I honestly don't even think the video related to what they were talking about. But anyways, the comment just said that deep down I want a tall man, and that anytime a shorter man tries to hit on me, I categorize that as like a weird fetish or something, and then I use that, I guess, as an excuse to cover up the fact that I'm not attracted to shorter men. That person did say that they hated to generalize, so I'll give them that, but apparently that whole situation can cause like frustration in the whole relationship and dating world and such. So the point of this episode is not really to address this comment. I also kind of wanted to use this as a voice or a way to speak on behalf of the tall girl community about this topic. I feel like this is just an ongoing thing. Like, we even see on social media, there's like a bunch of these public interviews where people are stopping tall women, people are stopping women, people are even stopping like shorter men and asking them, oh, like, would you go? Well, I'll speak on behalf of the tall women because, you know, that's like me, that's my thing. Like, I can speak on those experiences, but they're more so stopping in these public interviews. They're stopping these taller women and asking them, oh yeah, like, would you date a short guy? What's the shortest height you'll date, and da 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 da. Like, we see this has been an ongoing thing, is what I'm trying to say. Like, very often, so many times for so long, people are constantly asking tall women would they go for a shorter guy. So I think that I'm just gonna try to use this episode as a way to, I don't want to say squash the whole question thing, squash the whole situation, because I can't Like everybody has their different preferences and stuff, but just as a way to speak for the tall girl community as a whole. I'm pretty sure that this person is also saying what a lot of people are thinking, so I'm just addressing this as a whole. But a very common misconception is that tall women inherently prefer tall men or see shorter men as less attractive or less capable, where in reality, preferences do vary. And quite frankly, it's so much more complex than just a thing of height or even physical traits for that matter. There are so many other factors to consider, including personality, which is a big one. I'm a firm believer, if your personality is ugly, you're ugly. No matter how physically attractive other people think you are. If you got a crap personality, if you got a bad personality, like, leave. But there's personality, there's shared interests and commonalities, shared beliefs, shared values. Okay, a lot of people do take religion and their beliefs and morals into account when considering a partner. There's also the idea of emotional connection, or what people consider a spark, and so much more. And I'm not gonna knock the idea that society and the media does put certain standards for everything, but also for dating into our heads. It's interesting that societal expectations can often dictate relationship norms, including height preferences. The media, for example, does portray taller men as more dominant and more desirable than shorter men, causing women as a whole, including tall women, to internalize these expectations to go after taller men, and they act that out in their everyday lives. But now I feel like the idea of taller women and shorter men dating is becoming talked about a little bit more. It's slowly becoming more normalized in the media, and I think that this creator explains this idea really, really well.
Zendaya and Tom Holland's relationship is getting pressed for a lot of reasons, but the most surprising one is their heights. Their high-profile relationship pushes back against ideas held by men and women about what height is acceptable for a romantic partner. Men may look for women who are shorter than them in order to fulfill a traditional masculine role, which dictates that men should be bigger and stronger. But as Anne Friedman writes for Esquire, women have also internalized the message that it's better for us to be smaller, because this is associated with femininity. But there's still a long way to go. It's way past time to stop making the possibility of romance dependent on something as superficial as height.
And Tom Holland and Zendaya are great examples of, celebrities that are just, showing their relationships out to the public, yes, but also normalizing the fact that a woman can be taller than the guy that she's dating. And there are other celebrity couples and ex-couples who portray that as well. The woman is taller than the guy that she's dating, at least in heels. And you have Bella Hadid and The Weeknd, Sophia Turner and Joe Jonas, Benji Madden and Cameron Diaz. And because we're seeing more and more celebrity couples in the mainstream media who don't really care about the height difference, we're seeing more and more tall women, coming forward and saying how they would consider someone who's shorter than them, or, even encouraging other women to be with someone who is shorter than them, or even other couples who are not celebrities are showcasing their relationship where the woman is taller and the man is shorter. And this creator is honestly just an example of a tall woman encouraging other tall women to, go for men who are shorter.
To my fellow tall out there, trust me, it is okay to be with a guy who is shorter than you. Most of the time, it's better because they appreciate the fact that you're taller than them. And also, if need be, you could probably kick their...
And in my opinion, I honestly don't think that one is better than the other. However, there are people who actually think that tall women think that one is better than the other. And it's usually the insecure ones. It's usually the insecure men. And they kind of project that insecurity onto us. And that's kind of a fear of us tall women that, if we were to get with a man who is shorter than us, that they will project their potential. I'm not saying that all shorter men have these insecurities, but the ones that do may project those insecurities onto us in the dating world, just like in an experience similar to this one.
How tall are you?
5'11".
Would you ever date someone shorter than you?
I did one time.
How tall were they?
5'7".
Damn.
Yeah, but he kind of had a god complex.
The 5'7" dude had a god complex?
Yeah, I could never wear cute shoes. He wouldn't let me wear my heels.
He wouldn't let you wear heels, ever? Like,
Never.
what about a formal attire?
Sneakers and slippers. Kind of ruined.
Do you still talk to him?
No, I ghosted him.
Either way, it's slightly understandable why people would think that way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true that, we prefer one over the other. And honestly, tall women, let's clear the air right now. What is your height limit for a guy or a partner you'd go for? Like, what is the shortest you would date? And I can tell you right now that there are going to be so many different answers in the comments. Why? Because there's no one standard answer to this question, okay? Like I said before, dating is so complex and it's just so different for everybody. It's more than just height, like I said before. It's personality, it's common interests, shared interests, commonalities, shared beliefs, values. Religion also sometimes comes into play. Emotional connection, that spark. It's not just like one set thing. And especially at a certain age, like I feel like especially in our teenage years, we're just like, oh, I only want this type of person, want that type of person, da 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 da. But as we get older, it's not like we're settling for a specific type of person or settling for a specific type of thing or whatever. It's more so a thing of there's just more to a person than just the superficial things that we consider in our teenage years. There are people who have certain preferences and everybody's preferences is going to look different. Like me, yes, I would consider someone who is slightly shorter, but I'm not going to go for someone who is like a whole foot shorter than me. But it's not to say that that person is like a bad person or anything. It's just that, I have a preference. Yes, I will go for someone who is slightly shorter, like maybe 1, 2, even 3 if we're pushing it inches, but I'm not going to go for someone who's a foot shorter. And that's just my personal preference. Some tall women will go for a guy or a partner who is a whole foot shorter than them and not care. That's their preferences. Everybody has different preferences. So can we stop forcing tall women to explain themselves when choosing a tall man or a short man? Like some prefer one over the other. Some prefer both. And some prefer neither. It's just a reality. So when given the choice between a tall guy and a short guy, a tall woman will choose the one who respects her, is kind to her, and provides physical security as well as emotional security. And you can't really put a height on that. Hopefully this is one of the last times, or maybe even the last time, that I have to settle this whole, not settle this whole debate, but talk about this whole debate, because I did this, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'm just like, ooh, this is getting to be a bit much, you know what I mean? Like we don't need, like, let's just all get along, let's be friends. We don't need to be getting mad at anyone for their specific preferences or generalizing. Because, a couple tall women or a couple people said that they had this one preference. So you think, this one group of person, all of them in that group have that one particular preference, because that is just not the case. And I sometimes feel like those people are the ones who get mad because the people that they want don't want them back. And it's like, if you're telling them to change their preference, why don't you change your preference? How about that? Then maybe you could find someone who adores you and cherishes you and wants to be with you. Just my opinion though. Anyways, I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. As always, feel free to hit me up on my socials at A Tall Girls Podcast. It's all going to be linked below, and you can let me know what you thought about this episode. What do you think about this debate of, tall women, do they want tall men or short men, and da 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 da. We could talk about this, have a conversation about this. Honestly, I don't really need your opinions because I kind of already know what it is. I literally just spoke on it. So is there any more to discuss about this topic? Maybe there is, and you can let me know on my socials. And until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Good night and goodbye.